Rain lashed against the library windows. Inside, Elias glared at the smug face of his tutor, Amelia. He hated her patience, her gentle corrections, her infuriatingly perfect handwriting. She was everything Elias wasn't: composed, studious, irritatingly pleasant. He wished 1,000 miles away, anywhere but stuck here with her. Focus, Elias. Amelia's voice was a soft reprimand, pulling him from his thoughts. The conjugation of this verb, he didn't care. He slammed his book shut, the loud thud echoing in the silent library. "I'm going home," he muttered, grabbing his bag. "But Elias," Amelia began, her brow furrowed in concern. "The storm." But Elias was already gone, pushing through the heavy oak doors into the raging storm. He didn't care about the storm. He didn't care about anything except escaping Amelia's suffocating presence. Little did he know he wouldn't escape her for long. He hadn't gone far when the library doors swung shut with a deafening boom. The wind howled, rattling the windows. He was trapped in the library and with Amelia. Dread coiled in his stomach. The library, once a place of comforting silence, now echoed with unseen menace. Shadows stretched and danced in the flickering gaslight. Books whispered on the shelves, their murmurs like hushed warnings. Elias felt a shiver crawl down his spine. He was alone, or so he thought. "Elias?" Amelia's voice was small, tinged with fear. He found her huddled by a bookshelf, her face pale in the dim light. He wanted to scoff, to tell her to stop being dramatic. But the fear in her eyes mirrored his own. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. The air grew colder, thick with an unnatural chill. A low growl echoed from the darkness between the towering bookshelves. Elias's breath hitched. He wasn't alone. Something lurked in the shadows, something ancient and hungry. He had to get out, had to get Amelia out. He grabbed her hand, her fingers ice cold in his grasp. "We have to go," he whispered, his voice trembling. She nodded, her eyes wide with terror. They were trapped in a nightmare, and the only way out was through the heart of it. Hand in hand they moved through the labyrinthine library. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of parchment sent shivers down their spines. Their fear was a living thing, suffocating, inescapable. But they couldn't afford to panic. Not now. "There," Amelia whispered, pointing to a narrow, cobwebbed doorway, partially hidden behind a tapestry, "a secret passage. I saw it on an old map of the library." Elias wanted to question her, to ask why she would know about a secret passage. But the urgency in her voice silenced him. The passage was cramped, the air thick with dust and the smell of decay. Elias led the way, his heart pounding against his ribs. He could feel Amelia's fear, a tangible presence beside him. But he also felt something else, a flicker of respect for her quick thinking, her unexpected bravery. They stumbled through the passage, the darkness pressing in around them. Elias knew they had to escape, not just for his own sake, but for hers. For the first time he realized he didn't want anything to happen to Amelia. The thought startled him. The darkness seemed to amplify every sound. Their own breathing sounded deafening, their footsteps heavy and clumsy. The whispers started subtly, like the rustling of pages, but grew steadily louder, morphing into guttural growls and chilling screams. "What is that?" Amelia whispered, her voice trembling. Elias shook his head, fear clogging his throat. He didn't know, but he could guess. The library was awake, and it wasn't friendly. They weren't just dealing with physical threats. Something sinister permeated the very air they breathed. A blood-curdling shriek pierced the darkness, followed by the clatter of something heavy falling. Amelia gasped, her hand tightening around Elias's. He squeezed back, offering a reassuring pressure. He had to be strong for both of them. They pressed on, their pace quickening, fueled by adrenaline and terror. The passage twisted and turned, leading them deeper into the bowels of the library. The air grew colder, the darkness more absolute. They were lost in a maze of shadows, hunted by something they couldn't see. The passage opened into a vast, cavernous chamber. Thousands upon thousands of books lined the walls, reaching up into the impenetrable darkness above. The air hung heavy, thick with the musty scent of aging paper, and something else, something ancient and vaguely unsettling. Amelia stumbled, her ankle twisting beneath her. Elias caught her, his arm instinctively going around her waist. He lowered her to the ground, his heart pounding in his chest. It wasn't just fear he felt, but a surge of protectiveness he couldn't explain. "We have to keep moving," he said, his voice surprisingly steady. Amelia nodded, her eyes shining with a newfound determination. She was scared. He could see it in the tremor of her lips, the way she clutched his arm. But she was also strong, stronger than he'd ever given her credit for. He helped her to her feet, and they continued their journey through the heart of the library. With each step, a grudging respect for Amelia bloomed within him. Her quiet strength, her sharp mind, her unwavering resolve, qualities he hadn't noticed before, blinded by his own prejudice. The chamber echoed with a low growl, the sound seeming to emanate from the very walls themselves. Elias and Amelia exchanged a look, fear and determination hardening their gazes. They were running out of time. The library was closing in on them, its malevolence palpable. Suddenly Amelia stopped, clutching his arm. "There," she exclaimed, pointing to a faint glow in the distance. A glimmer of hope pierced the oppressive darkness. They surged forward, their pace quickening with renewed purpose. As they drew closer, the glow resolved itself into a single, narrow window, high up on the wall. Beneath it lay a precarious stack of books, a makeshift staircase leading towards their only chance of escape. "I'll go first," Elias said, his voice firm. He could see the hesitation in Amelia's eyes, but she nodded, trusting him. He climbed, the scent of old paper filling his nostrils, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. He reached the window, pushing it open with all his might. Cool, fresh air rushed in, a blessed relief from the oppressive atmosphere of the library. He reached down, his hand outstretched. "Come on, Amelia!" He pulled Amelia through the window, relief washing over him as her feet touched solid ground. They collapsed onto the soft earth, gasping for breath. They were safe, for now. Her hair was tousled, her face smudged with dirt. He realized his dislike had morphed into admiration, respect, and something more. Love. She turned towards him, her eyes searching his. He leaned in, drawn to her like a moth to a flame. Their lips met in a kiss, hesitant at first, then deepening with passion. In the heart of darkness, they had found each other, their love a beacon of light amidst the ruins.